Good afternoon, everyone. We are pleased you could join us as we recognize one of the most dedicated military police officers in the Alabama National Guard, Major Patrick Martell, on this occasion for his promotion to the rank of Lieutenant Colonel. Before we begin, we are delighted to welcome Major Martell's family, wife Jennifer Martell, daughter Katie Martell, father Klaus Martell. We would also like to welcome our special guest, Major General Lee Ellis, and retired Major General Chuck Gales. At this time, Major Martell is presenting his wife, Jennifer, and daughter Katie with a bouquet of roses for all the support they have shown Major Martell throughout his military career. Before we begin, Chaplain Lampkin will lead us in a word of prayer.
Let's pray. Oh Lord God, thank you for this day to celebrate the blessings you have bestowed to Patrick, and through Patrick. He's been a blessing to so many, as is noted here by this great turnout. We ask, Lord, that you would continue to bless him with his servant attitude and spirit, and using the gifts that you've equipped him with to continue to serve soldiers in the state of Alabama and the United States. We bless him and his family, Lord, and ask you to hear us in Christ's name. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, our guest speaker for today, Major General Ellis, Special Assistant to the Director, Army National Guard, will now provide his remarks. Sir, the floor is yours.
Appreciate it. I know you need to be at ease. I've been there. So first of all, Patrick, I am so honored to be here. Okay, and I mean that, and everything that from the bottom of my heart. And the reason is because of the quality person and soldier and officer that Patrick Martell is. Okay, one of the things that when I told him I was coming, he was a little surprised, and I was surprised he was surprised. Okay, you shouldn't have been, Patrick, because I see how you lay it out on the line every single day. And so that loyalty is rewarding loyalty, all right? And so I appreciate that. So I'm honored to be here. Then you give me a curveball, say a few things, okay? That's not a problem, but you give the general officer a mic and we can go all day. So I promise to keep this short, Patrick, but there's a few things that have to be said, okay? So I first met Patrick back in when the Kim Brigade, the 31st Brigade, had the CRE mission, okay? Saw him right away. But I saw lots of people all the time, but I saw somebody maneuvering around, executing at a high rate of speed that needed very little direction and was always going. And that was, who's this guy? Oh, his name's Martell. What's he do? Okay, and he's the busiest guy I knew. And then that mission was very difficult. Okay, it spent a lot of additional time. It required a lot of additional effort from each and every soldier and officer who was there. You had two missions, okay? General Gales knows that well, one of the predecessors there. All right, you had an MTO mission, but then you also had the CPRM responsible element mission. It was very, very tricky, just very, very demanding. And Patrick, you excelled in that area. You fast forward, and I'm working up at Army Material Command, and it comes up that there's an option to somebody to come work for us. Patrick Martell throws his hand up there. He says, "You want to do this?" He said, "Yeah." That's it. He's coming. He came up there and immediately hit the ground running. All right? And that's a dynamic situation. It's a 4-star headquarters that he's operating in. All right? It's the Army Material Command. He's doing all things big Army. So it can be daunting, and it can be hard to understand how to navigate in that organization. All right? But Patrick is also a relationship person who knows how to talk to people. And better yet, he's grounded on an aspect of taking care of soldiers, okay? So the mission that we had him doing is something called Patriot Press. So our Major Lucas, who's a senior enlisted advisor back there for me for part of that time, worked with Patrick as well, can restate the same thing. He knows how tricky and dynamic that mission was and is today. And it was very unique. We took Guard and Reserve units from across the nation to support Army Material Command. Largely, they did a variety of things, but one of the biggest things they did was move live munitions across the country to help do strategic resourcing of where the munitions needed to be. This is a real-world critical mission, okay? It helped set the footprint that we needed to be in the posture for things in Europe that are taking place and things that were taking place in Indo-PACOM at various times, all right? He helped orchestrate and run it, okay? And I will tell you, it meant that he was talking across multiple states, okay? Multiple ESCs, those are Expeditionary Sustainment Commands, other reserves. And so it was real dynamic for him, all right? And one of the things that, how I view Patrick, this is where, you know, he's going to go, maybe I wish I would say this, but see, Patrick's a person that when you say go, he's gone. Okay? I mean, he is gone, okay? So I learned earlier on that I have to give him a very small azimuth, a boundary, because he will be like, okay, I'm expecting him to be at this point, and he's 2 points ahead. And if my advice wasn't clear, it could be way over here. And so, but the thing is, it was always, it was going to happen, okay? You know, you didn't have to go behind and say, hey, let's make something happen. I was always trying to play catch up, all right? And that's a trait that I wish we had more of, okay? So Patrick ran with that like you wouldn't believe. And again, it was an incredible success. And I told you about his caring for soldiers, okay? So one of the premium things that we put on that, as you might imagine, was risk management, caring for soldiers, and safety. Like I said, this is live munitions going across the country, all right? Some of these were 1,700 plus mile moves, all right? Complex. I can tell you, time and time again, he hammered him, all right? I told him that once, and I'd walk by, and I'm hearing him hanging up the phone. I said, let me just tell you, you gotta be sure you're doing your risk management plan. What is your safety brief? Who's your safety officers? What's your backup plan? Okay, he was doing that. He helped run the AARs. Okay, he also ran all the IPR, the process reviews. Okay, the updates and so forth. What's going on? Okay, that are taking place in the briefs of the plans. Okay, so it was utterly fantastic. I slept better at night knowing that Patrick was doing it. And then I said I won't go too long, so but I'm going to add all this. So he did this AMC job with still supporting the brigade, okay? And when he was doing the AMC job, it was basically like a deployment. He spent a lot of time away from his family, okay? So Jennifer Cady, again, I told you earlier, you paid a burden for that, and I appreciate that immensely. And I thank you for your support, Klaus, family and friends. You wouldn't be here today if you didn't give him that support, okay? So I thank you for enabling Patrick to do the things that he's done. So, Patrick, thank you for the honor to be here, and more for the honor to speak too, okay? And I'll go anywhere with you, all right? Thank you.
We now ask that Colonel Wheeler and Major Martell's family join him at the center of the floor for his pinning to Lieutenant Colonel. Attention orders. The President of the United States has reposed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, valor, fidelity, and the abilities in Major Patrick Martell. In view of these qualities and your demonstrated potential for increased responsibility, you are therefore promoted in the United States Army National Guard to the grade of Lieutenant Colonel. Effective date, 12th of July, 2024. Please give Lieutenant Colonel a round of applause. Colonel Wheeler will now re-administer the oath of office.
I state your name.
I, Patrick Martell,
Having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States,
having been appointed officer of the United States,
as indicated above in the grade of Lieutenant Colonel,
as indicated above the grade of Lieutenant Colonel,
do solemnly swear that I will support and defend
that I solemnly swear to support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservations or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge the duties of the office
that I will in faith discharge the duties of the office
upon which I'm about to enter.
which I'm about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations. All right, so before Patrick comes up here and he provides his remarks, I just wanted to say a couple things. First and foremost, I want to thank Major General Ellis for coming out today and speaking here today. I know he's been a mentor to a lot of us in uniform, and I think it's a testament to Patrick's service that he made this special trip over here today to speak. So thank you, sir. Next, I want to talk about Patrick for a minute. Lieutenant Colonel Martell, and that rolls off the tongue, doesn't it?
It does.
So when I first met Patrick, anybody out here ever have like a bad date? Like your first date and it's a bad date? That's what it was like when we met. He was a major, I was a lieutenant colonel. He was the Brigade 1, I'm a battalion commander. We're up at a commander's dialogue, and Colonel Neely gets up, and he was the brigade commander at that time, and he gives his spiel, and he's like, I'm going to turn it over to my staff now. Most of the staff took it easy on us as battalion commanders. Patrick didn't. He got up in that one capacity, lit into the commanders in a very nice way that you weren't doing your jobs, and immediately myself and a guy named Mike Davenport, we kind of shorted out there like, and we look at each other and we're like, how dare him talk to us as battalion commanders like that? But we were so wrapped up in that little process right there, we missed all the items on how he was going to help us as the S1. Missed it all. And you want to know what? That individually, single-handedly cleaned up the one operations, all the administrative functions throughout the brigade. And we're talking about a soldier that drills. Not talking about a full-timer whose the expectation is you take care of soldiers. He knows consistently. He takes care of soldiers. He was on the phone all during the week. He had a job to do. He had a civilian job. He made it a point to get up with each one of those commanders and get us dialed in and get our full-time personnel dialed in, where we became the best brigade in the state. And this man right here, as we've kind of grown up together over the years, you know, I wanted first and foremost to ensure that he was on my staff, because as Major General Ellis spoke to, you know, he only knows one speed. I mean, it's 6th gear. If it's got sport, turbocharged, all that stuff is activated because he's going like full speed. But you want to know what? During the week, he habitually just ensures that everything's taken care of. And what an outstanding leader. I mean, absolutely outstanding. But first and foremost, man, he is known for taking care of soldiers. Now, his expectation level is way up here of himself. But then that sets the bar for those that work for him right here, which is super high. But he's developed and mentored and led so many great soldiers in our formation. And you want to know what? I see them continually depend on rank. And that's a direct reflection of him. So Patrick, thrilled to be here with you today. Thank you, brother. The floor is now yours.
All right, I'm going to try to make this short, but as Major General Ellis said, well, when you have this time, you don't make it short, you make it about the family. So the how and the why. Before I talk about the how I am here, I want to talk about the why, and that's because of this entire family, my friends, my classmates from Lauderdale County High School to everyone that's in University of North Alabama, my mentors, between Major General Gales, Major General Ellis, Sergeant Major Frank Rosie, Jerry Norris, Jim Coulter, Art Blackburn, Adam Glover, Colonel Bossard, Colonel Howard, the ladies and gentlemen in this staff over here that you're about to embark on the GITMO. We grew up a lot together throughout the years, and I'm on Johnny Scott, Ian Jones, my own team, Josh Cook, Malik, Sandra Peasley, all the way to my cousin who's in a Navy chief to Hawaii, through the 111th Stanford Brigade to South Carolina, David Phillips right there, Ricky Robb. There's just, you guys made it. You guys made me this rank. Colonel Wheeler kind of told me about some of the how and how you get here. To me, it's timing. You surround yourself with good people. That was your thing. You have to surround yourself with good people. A good support system. You got to have it. You have to be teachable. General Ellis kind of told that a lot. You have to be teachable all the way around. You have to have courageous conversations, both up and down. Sometimes an ass chewing is okay, sometimes it's not, but you have to have the courageous conversations. You have to learn to be uncomfortable, and I will tell you, being part of the 203rd, first of the 203rd 88 to MP, we were very much uncomfortable for a long time. And you have to have passion. For the family here who has supported me, they've kind of seen it. I will tell you right now, being Private Martell in the 2117th Maintenance Company, this was not part of the plan. If you told me right now, and Kevin Jones will attest, if this is going to be I was like, no, I don't think it's no way. So the courageous conversations kind of happened in 2001. We were having dinner, 9/11 just happened, and my dad asked me about the Guard. I'm like, what do you think you want to do? And he said, well, I'm thinking about getting out. And he said, no, the hell you're not. You're going to become an officer. And you're going to join the ROTC. I think you realize my academic career wasn't going the way it was, so I better ever fall back in. And that's what I did. First, the 203rd ADA, learned very quickly about the battalion staff. You're talking, Colonel Morgan, you're talking about, at that time, Captain Izzo, Captain Neely, Lieutenant Norris, we're talking Lieutenant Nelson, Sergeant First Class, Rosie at the time, a lot of people. But you got to be thrown to it. And then when it came to 05, a lot of great things started happening. I was asked, and when I showed up to the battalion headquarters, my XO said, well, I don't need you right now. I don't need ordnance officers, I need MPs. I said, okay, I'll be an MP. A couple months later, on March the 4th, 2005, I met my wife in Florence, Alabama. And then I went to officer basic course, and then from there, it's been a continuous ripple effect of graduating officer basic course, getting deployed, getting my notification, telling my wife we got to get deployed, planning a wedding within 4 months, getting deployed, coming back 90 days later saying, you're going back to Iraq. And then becoming the battalion S1, and then we're Sergeant Major Rosie and so many different of us deployed with the 203rd MP Battalion. Part of that lineage. And then from there, it was HHG Command. I was scared shitless, I'm not gonna lie, because when you have General Gales right there, and the expectation is high. And we're like, and Colonel Izzo was a battalion commander, and it was interesting. Jess Howard came over to the battalion, and it was a very interesting couple months. It really was. We went from learning the job. You, Martin Abel, a lot of the staff have already rotated out. Johnny Scott was a company commander with me, Brad Priest. My brother was also there. And then we got the 2011 tornadoes, and it really got real. quickly. Jess Howard, I, Brad Breeze, the North was ours, Tuscaloosa was in shambles, and then we made it through. And then when it came to 2012, we were in a drill room. Sergeant Major Rosie's about to turn over his active duty command, and that's when we became CRA Bravo. And then they said, come to the brigade staff. My wife authorized that. She said, I'm okay going to Tuscaloosa. I'm like, well, it's a T-town, but War Eagle all the way. So, and that's where I met Colonel Bosser, and that's where I met Thomas Baker, Tony Pullum, O'Brien, Keith Hayes, a whole bunch of us. Lonely captains who had no idea what we were doing. We had confidence. We had confidence in what we were doing, what we were told to do. And then we became this big network. That's where I met Brandy Albritton, Scott Juday, Ron Santana, Keith. We became that lonely company grade group where we went from just our own little world to knowing everybody. From there, it was training officer, it was the S1, and then became the real adventure when Colonel Ellis gave me a call in 2015. He said, I want you to come to the brigade. I'm like, okay. Because they said, you're going to get promoted. I'm like, roger that. He unfortunately went to Romania very quickly during my tenure. I don't know if I scared him off or whatever, but he went to Romania and we did a lot of good things. 2016, we got the MPs and Seabird together, great AT. And then 2017 hit. Became a cop. But another thing happened. I had to tell my wife and then my daughter at the time I'm deploying again. JTF Gitmo. Went through that process. Mark Blackburn was with me on that one. CJ Smith. Henry over there. We all went together and we successfully did it. It was a 6-month hodgepodge of something, but we did it. Coming back, I will tell my family knows, but to a lot of people I had a mental down where I was thinking I was going to get out. I really was. And Colonel Yarnell, Lieutenant Colonel Yarnell, Izzo were like, stay in the guard, come to the regiment. Take that downward down, just come down. And it was not good, and I was like, roger that, I'll take it. Learned a lot. Pisha, Ricky Morris were part of that. A lot of great NCOs were part of that. So when I went to Fort McClellan, it was nice, closest to the house I've ever been. All of a sudden, COVID hit. But Colonel Izzo said that you should come to the brigade. I want you to activate this brigade. And that was special, because we really did it. COVID hit, and then another opportunity called where Brad Breeze called me and said, I got to become a battalion commander, but I want you to take over. And I said, what do you want me to do? Logistics. I'm like, I don't know anything about logistics. Don't worry, General Officer, you're going to be okay. I'm like, all right. And that's where I met my brother David Phillips from South Carolina. So becoming a Brigade 1, Josh Cook, Don Hort, myself, Brad Breeze was there, and then Jim Napier took the helm for the longest time. And we rocked it. And it was really special. Did the activation ceremony, was part of that original crew. Did ANC on top of that. Going into 22, I told my team I got to take a step back a little bit from the brigade because I became a one-man sustainment brigade. And David Phillips and myself, Rixie, Corey Hunt from Kentucky, we became Operation Patriot Press. The one-man sustainment brigade was making sure that the brigade was always handling business. And then I had another breakdown going into 23 where things were not going my way, but Colonel Wheeler's like, you're there, but you need to make that one extra block. He said, I need you to become an S3. And that's what he did. So I said, sir, I'm going to become an S3. So I said, who am I with? You're going to be with Scott Juday and you're going to be with Colonel Howard. I'm like, okay, I'll take it. Because I have a lot of respect for Colonel Howard. We worked a lot of stuff together. And Scott Juday's job of mine was to get the battalion, take it from the step that he was at, and that's what I did. And then on May the 30th, I got the call from Colonel Wheeler saying, you got promoted, and I said, don't BS me, sir, did I really get promoted? And he said, yeah. So I was like, okay. Immediately, I called my wife. My wife came in and then went to her dance studio and told Katie, and she was like, she jumped and she's shocked, and it's been a good trip ever since. You got to thank the people who helped you get here, but you also have to thank everybody who's not here. But to my GEO staff who guided me, Major General Gales, General Brown, who I work for, Rear Admiral John Rain, of course, Brigadier General Rizzo, Major General Ellis, and then of course General McKinney, who's the UCOM, to my colonels, Colonel Bossert, Buxton, Colonel Ward, who gave me a shot, Colonel Davenport, Worthy Neely, and Colonel Wheeler, who said, stay the course. To my Lieutenant Colonel brethren, O'Brien, Darnell, Bachman, Lambert, Middaw, got to meet a lot of people throughout the world. Colonel Davis from Q46 MTB, Jerry Norris, Beth Shivers, who, congratulations to her, another MP that became a logistics officer. I don't know what's going on with that, but it's okay. Greg Depta, and then all the different Major Albritton, who's here, came up, Major J, and so many people you have to really thank, and it's the captains, especially Captain Case, who's here, who's taken over for me. It's one of the few times where I can say, I'm okay giving that guy my job. That's a great feeling. To the NCOs who keep mentoring us, keep us grounded, to the Sergeant Major Frank Rosie, Automatic, Jim Coulter was part of my team, Danny Counts, Puff, just so many great people, man. It was, and then you start learning the other way. Sergeant Major Lucas kept me semi-grounded at ANC. It was definitely fun. Hamilton, and then my teams, I always touch on them. Danny Counts, my NCOIC, E5 that I went to Iraq with, ran an MP battalion. We demoted the other E7 and kicked them out. E5 took me. So if you're an E5 in this formation, you're about to go to Gitmo, you don't think you mean anything, you mean more than you know. You mean more than you know. You can do a lot more than you want to. If you're just going to be there, you're just going to hang on, don't do it. To my warrant officers that taught me, Chief McGraw, Chief Pepper, who we've grown together since I was a private and he was a specialist. Chief Krista, Chief Cook, a lot of great people, but on the front two rows, starting with my dad, he told me, he said, just do it. So that's what I did. So to my wife and to my daughter, who would give me permission to wear this uniform, at any time they can tell me to take it off. To my friends and family who are here from UNA, you see me growing up, and hopefully I've risen to that expectation. Hopefully I made you proud. To even my retirees, Chris Smith, Jason Phelps, honored you here. Just glad that everybody came out. Some people said it's one of the biggest turnouts. Well, I did invite the entire state of Alabama, so that's what I did. To the front row, General Ellis, it's been an honor. It's a lot of fun. A lot of gray hairs. To Colonel Wheeler, he took over this gray from General Izzo, and he kept rocking. Got it. Been here, that's under honor too. To my three people, Jim Napier, who has mentored me throughout the years, throughout my field grade. I think he's bald because of me. I think I've given him more stress throughout the years. But he's allowed me to run and do a lot of things. To my brother Scott Jude, where we've rocked the A-Lock here and there at the battalion. It's not going to be the same. But we did a lot of good stuff. Finally, Brad Priest. Well, you can't spell MD without Martell and Priest, so just get that out of the way. We've been together since 2008, and he has been my rock in this world. We have tag teamed different company commands, we have tag teamed staffs between the battalions, between different brigades. I've served under him, followed him, and I trust him. And it has been just an honor. So, and to thank the HAC 142nd MP Brigade for allowing me this, Captain Sayers, First Sergeant Davis, for doing this, and for everybody here. My last thing is to you. I will see you at your ceremony. Do not underestimate the island. As our first class Mary was told, our black woman was also stated, the island will give you an opportunity to succeed. The island will give you what you put into it. If you put nothing into it, you will get nothing. If you give it something, you will get a lot back. And that's what I learned to get back. So, sir, that's all I have.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes this afternoon's ceremony. Please come to the front and offer your congratulations to Lieutenant Colonel Patrick Martell. Thank you.